What's up guys, Scott here, and today I'm going to walk you through the basics of processing a metal bass. There's a lot of information online and almost this kind of mysterious aspect when it comes to getting a good bass sound. However, the fact is that it's really not that hard, and I'm going to prove that to you right here in this video. I'm going to teach you the split bass EQ technique. This is not new or revolutionary in any way, and it is widely used by many of the top level mixers to get more control of their bass. I guarantee you've heard a song where a mixer has used this technique on the radio or whatever you listen to. Now for this example, I'm actually going to use two different bass libraries. I'm going to use one with just the DI, and then I'm going to use one that has a pre-made tone. For the DI, I'm using the Panda bass, and for the pre-existing tone, it's the Metal Massive Bass RBI. Now the process is essentially the same regardless of you're using a DI or if you're using a pre-made tone. The only difference is with the DI, you're going to need to use some sort of an amp simulator to generate a grit tone. So the first thing we have to do here is, as you see, I've already cloned the tracks. I've got a track named Sub, and I've got a track named Grit. We are effectively splitting the frequencies of the bass guitar, which will give us more control of each range, so we can basically do whatever we want in each range without affecting the other range. So on the Sub track, we want to get rid of anything that isn't contributing to the lower aspects of the bass guitar. This will differ on every single bass, depending on the tuning and whatever you're playing. However, with most bass guitars like, Panda bass and these other bass libraries, you can pretty much start at 200 and work your way down. What you want to listen for is right at the point where the mids of the bass just disappear and it's pretty much all low end. After that, you want to throw on your limiter. I'm using L1 from Waves, but you can use the W1 limiter, which is a free clone of the L1. Here you want to pull the threshold down to about minus 12 dB attenuation or so. I mean, these numbers are arbitrary, they don't mean anything. Basically, you just want to pull it down to where it starts to sound pretty brutal. After that, you'll definitely need to adjust the output. Again, minus 6 dB here in my case, but arbitrary, do whatever sounds good for you. Now, grit is exactly what it sounds like. We are going to process the top end of the bass so that we can have that attack that'll just cut right through the mix so you can actually hear the bass. So here we took out all the mid and the top end out of the sub track, and now we're going to do the exact opposite by filtering all the low stuff out and all the mids of the grit track. What you want to do in this case is move the filter all the way up until all that nasty mid crap is out of the top end. Now the next thing we need to do with a DI, is we need to load some kind of an amp simulator. Doesn't matter which amp simulator you want to use. You can even use stock amp simulators that come with your particular DAW. You just want to get some chainsaw nasty grit action going on. From here, break out the L1 and do the exact same as you did with the sub. Use your ears and decide how much you need to attenuate or pull down the threshold or whatever. Now, in the case of using a bass instrument that already has a pre-made tone, for example, in the Texas grind bass, you've got Sans Amp. The Metal Massive bass, you've got Sans Amp and the Dark Glass. And a lot of these other metal bass VSTs come with pre-made tones. You won't need an amp simulator for these. Now you want to do the exact same thing as I have here. You have a sub and a grit, and you literally do the exact same process, okay? You split the bass, do the EQ, and the only thing you don't need to do is you don't need to load an amp simulator. Now, after you have all the settings in place, you want to take an EQ and find any harsh frequencies. A good place to look really is always around the 2K range and the upper 800s, 1K range. There's always some crap going on in there. Now that you have the two individual tracks processed, you want to send them both to the same bus or group or whatever. Open up your EQ and cut at 70 Hertz. The reason why you want to cut 70 Hertz on the actual bus is so that the phase relationship of the two instruments will remain the same. If you cut on 70 on both separate sub-tracks, the phase relationship will not remain intact when they get sent to the bus. Also, if you're spiking the meter, use the trim or the gain plugin knob to bring down the level before they go into the EQ. From here, attenuate with L1 to get the right amount of bass level for your song, and ta-da! You are done. With this process, you'll be able to get a good thumping and gritty bass tone for your song. I don't want to say guaranteed, but pretty darn close. I'm going to go ahead and play my little sample here that I have a few ways. I'm going to show you the bass DI with Panda bass. I'm going to show you the bass with the Metal Massive bass grit tone. I'm going to show you with drums, without drums, bass only, with guitars, without the guitars. So just sit back and enjoy the demo. All right, that does it for this video, guys. If you found the video useful, please consider a like rating. Subscribe if you haven't already because more videos are always on the way. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.